Bishnoi group hired somebody to kill.
As far as this Bishnoi is concerned, he's in the prison here. Goldy Brar, who's supposed to be one of the close links with him, he's in Canada. Goldy Brar, who's supposed to be one of the close links with him, he's in Canada.
That the Bishnoi group hired somebody to kill, or there is a gang which is operated from India which is going about killing targets, and there are many targets whether in Canada or in America or both countries. These are all hearsay, they don't have intercepts.
So that is a different case altogether. If there is a criminal gangs are there in all countries, it's in India as well.
Outsourcing of criminal gangs, that's what the allegation is, that's why your name.
So if you look at Canada, it's a country where there are so many gangs working, some of them with impunity. But there are so many gangs there. And gang wars are not uncommon in Canada. We have seen so many killings happening. So as far as this Bishnoi is concerned, he's in the prison here. What we understand that Goldy Brar, who's supposed to be one of the close links with him, he's in Canada. We have given them the information on that, shared the information. After that, they had been looking for Goldy Brar. All of a sudden, everything has gone cold.
So there's this is the poster, we got this.
Absolutely. So this is the organization known as BOLO, B-O-L-O. This is a civic organization.
Okay.
All right. Because probably from the legal perspective, RCMP itself cannot make a wanted list. But they collaborate very closely with the law and order authorities. And this was, so number 15 was his serial number in the wanted list.
So till this point, when his name went on the list, were they in conversation with you about this man?
They were
no?
in conversation
or they did it on their own?
with our system.
Okay.
Yes. Because we are the ones who informed them.
On Goldie Brar?
On Goldie Brar as well.
Whose real name is Satinder Singh Brar.
So Goldie Brar is on our list of extradition.
So you gave the information?
Absolutely. With all the evidence.
You, matlab, India gave the information on Goldie Brar.
Absolutely.
Why do we want him back?
Because he has committed crimes in India.
Okay.
He has committed murders in India.
But he's a Canadian passport holder.
Yes.
Okay. And would you know offhand since when he's been operating in Canada?
I think it has been quite a few years.
Okay, so we want him back for crimes committed in India while he's sitting in Canada.
Absolutely.
Okay. He was on Canada's wanted list and
on our persuasion.
On India's persuasion. But it seems to have vanished one fine day. Why?
So very difficult. We can only do the guesswork. So either he's no more wanted, so that's one way of looking at it, or he has lost his life. That's another way of looking at it, or he's hands in gloves with someone else.
Yeah, he could have turned a prover, is what the street is saying, right? Many are saying, of course, you will not officially tell us yes or no, but for it to just vaporize for no reason a name, either they have eliminated themselves. That is also possible. A Canadian, I don't know what their laws are, whether they can eliminate people
I'll have my doubts.
You have your doubts. Okay. All right. So that is one case. Now he He was also part of gang warfare. Everybody knows that in
Absolutely,
Canada. He
absolutely.
was.
Niger was part of a gang war.
Okay.
There's a whole list
Huh.
who were gangsters and why they were fighting with each other. Most of them were running drugs. Most of them were running guns. Most of them were involved in human trafficking across the border south into the US. Now, this business, and this is a business. This business, so they became something like gangsters who would like to control the turf, and then the turf war starts.
You mentioned in an interview that Khalistanis are deep state assets, Canada's deep assets. You've said that. So, is that the only way to beat gang wars?
No, see, okay. Let me get to the background. So when the interviewer kept me pushing that Mr. Trudeau spoke in the parliament and therefore that should be taken as the biblical truth, I said, okay, here is my allegation that Khalistani terrorist goons and extremists are deep assets for CSIS, which is their intelligence organization. She said, what is the evidence? I said, what was the evidence when he said? So if that is biblical truth, why is this not biblical
हाँ,
truth?
तुम करो तो रास लीला, हम
हाँ
करे
हाँ
तो
वही बात
कैरेक्टर
है।
लीला।
तो ऐसे थोड़ी होता है। या तो आप दोनों को माने। अगर आप मुझसे पूछ रहे हैं कि आपके पास साक्ष्य क्या है, आप उनसे भी पूछिए आपके पास साक्ष्य क्या है, जो कि बाद में उन्होंने डिपोजिशन जब उन्होंने दिया फॉरेन इंटरफेरेंस कमीशन के सामने, तो कहा कि उस समय मेरे पास कुछ भी नहीं था, मैं तो ऐसे ही बोल दिया। फिर एक जगह वो मुस्कुराते हुए बोलते हैं कि दिस वाज डन टू सेंड चिल टू इंडिया। एक जिम्मेवार प्रधानमंत्री के रूप में आप कैसे ऐसा कह सकते हैं? और ये रिश्ता कोई आज का नहीं है, आपने नहीं बनाया है। ये रिश्ता सदियों से चला आ रहा है।
राइट।
और हम लोग सबों के पूर्वजों ने बनाया है ये। उसको आगे ले जाना हमारा फर्ज है। और वहां पर आप कह रहे हैं कि आई डिड दिस टू सेंड अ चिल टू इंडिया। I find it very objectionable statement.
Yes, from a prime minister, I guess. But he also, in one statement, he said that he was being magnanimous. I mean, that's not the word he used, but he was kind of being magnanimous. That in an international summit, he could have embarrassed the Indian prime minister, but he didn't, and that the Indian prime minister was quibbling and not say, and instead talking about our list of 26 instead of the Niger thing. That's exactly. Somewhat what happened in that interview that you were doing with the Canadian broadcaster, also where she kept asking you about this case and you kept saying we've got 26 on the list too.
And we have got more than a decade long request pending with them. So why is it that our requests are not taken with seriousness, which is required? And if you say that, you know what, this is a list, this is not an evidence, this is lead of intelligence, why don't you take legal action? Is that fair? If you are a rule of law country, we are too.
Yeah.
And our laws are as stringent as your laws could be.
See, the Ministry of External Affairs, when they put out their response, I mean, I've never seen such a strongly worded document. I mean, everybody sat up to say, हाँ ये MEA को क्या हो गया? इतना strongly worded. Even some of us, jaded MEA beat reporters who have seen things like candid, which means gali galoch hui, but cannot say gali galoch, but use the word candid. We understand diplomatese or diplomatic language and the coding of the words. Even we were kind of surprised where straight on a mention of Mr. Trudeau and laying the blame squarely on him for having messed up the relationship, and very strong words. So do you think it was like as a diplomat, as somebody who was shouldering this very enormous task of improving ties between India and Canada, do you feel that it was that complete frustration and breakdown at that point?
Just think of it. Any such press release is a Government of India press release, not only MEA.
Yeah.
Therefore, it had to have undergone several vetting. So, our frustration with Canada, our anger towards Canada, our anger towards Canada's double standards ran so deep that we would have thought whosoever would have approved this text and it would be approved at a very, very high level, that I
Yes.
can assure you.
I can imagine.
Would have said, enough is enough. And you are very right. We generally, India is a polite country. We are Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam country. So we don't come out with such harsh words. But in this case, we were put in a situation where we had to look at our diplomatic courtesies, which we follow generally. And we have to say that now we have to call a spade a spade. And that's what was done. Your second point that it talked about Mr. Trudeau largely, that is very correct. Because India and Canada had been friends and they will remain friends. Canadians are wonderful people and so are Indians. So we have nothing against Canadian citizens except Khalistanis. We have nothing against Canadian citizens. We have nothing against Canada as the beautiful, bountiful land. But the way in which this was handled by a sitting Prime Minister and his team was deplorable.